Good luck.
Chris?
Yes.
Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. It is July 14th, 2026. We've just come from executive session where we were discussing union negotiations. The first item on the agenda tonight is a resolution considering authorization for a bid based on best value for the installation of the National Fitness Campaign's Fitness Court Studio.
Whereas in March 2014, the Board of Trustees authorized competitive bidding on the basis of best value as allowed under New York State finance law. And whereas Rybrook has approved the construction of a National Fitness Campaign Fitness Court Studio at Harkness Park and has already authorized the purchase of the studio as well and the bid for the installation of a concrete pad and related services. And whereas in the best interest to bid the installation of the studio on the basis of best value because the NFC has a nationwide network of approved installers who receive specific training from the NFC, provide a competitive flat rate for the installation, complete the project in 4 days or less, weather permitting, and include the installation of the vinyl artwork, and will ensure that the NFC Fitness Court Studio warranty would not potentially be at risk if improperly installed by a non-approved installer. And whereas the village will still consider all qualified bidders and assign weighted review based upon the following criteria: 45% for the best available date to install the fitness studio once the concrete pad phase is completed, 30% on the NFC nationwide network of approved installers, and 25% for the total number of NFC fitness studios or fitness court studios successfully installed. Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator and superintendent of public works to bid for the installation of the fitness studio on the basis of best value for the reasons stated in this resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second. Chris, maybe a little background as
Sure.
to why. I mean, typically we don't have to pass a resolution going to bid, so just...
Yeah, so when we do best value, the board the New York State allows for best value bids, and also the village code allows for it, but does require that the board approve any best value bids that go out. So sometimes it's at the time of the bid award, but it's better to do it ahead of time. So when we actually currently are out to bid, but we want the board to approve it as best value. This way it's very clear. This is an unusual bid. And this particular bid, all the prices from the installers are going to come in at the same price, which is going to be also interesting because their prices are fixed. So we have to create a weighted system that we created that talks about if they're all going to come in basically the same price, we want to give weight to the installers. We want to give weight to who can meet the time frames so that time frames match up, and also experience. So that's the idea that we thought. Those were reasonable criteria that Mr. Nowak and mostly Mr. Nowak created and appreciate on how we could kind of differentiate one versus another.
Okay.
So obviously, since it's not just a normal bid where it's the lowest responsible bidder, it's a little bit weird to have it. So this way, we thought this would be a good way, an appropriate way to give the different people bidding on it weight. Now, if you're not an approved installer, you still are allowed to bid on it, but there's weight given to those that are on that list.
Understood. Thank you, Chris. So, Trustee Heiser, you're going to be very disappointed in that they're all going to come in pretty much the same.
I'm thrilled that we're not following the model of the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool.
I was going to say, this isn't sole source contracting either, and so this won't be awarded to the guy who did your pool. So, all right, any questions about this process or of the resolution itself? Yeah.
No,
Trustee
I just read. I just saw the plan. I just had a question on the project. There's a fence around it, correct?
No.
Oh, it showed in this plan. It showed a fence or something.
There's a fence around the existing tennis court that's there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, tennis courts have a fence.
Oh, okay. That wasn't the plan. Okay.
No.
Okay. I was just curious. All right. So it's going to be open.
It's open.
24 hours a day, 7
Yeah.
days a week.
Yeah.
Is it going to be a lighted
Nope.
So you want to go in the dark and exercise, I guess you're on your own risk.
In theory, the village could put up a light on it, but no plans for
Well, I
that at the
think it
moment.
would-
So sunrise to sunset or
Well, I
something.
think, yeah,
right?
probably because it would also adhere, it would have to adhere to the same regulations we have with any of our public
Parks, okay.
properties, which have hours that, allowable hours,
Yeah.
that people can be there.
Yeah. Use it, don't
Most of our
abuse it.
parks close at sunset.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. We allow the kids sometimes to stay later if they don't abuse the.
Right.
Which
Or
is
if we're
okay.
showing a movie like we
Yeah.
did this past Friday and a few other nights coming up soon,
Okay.
which Chris, I'm sure, will address in the administrator's report.
All right.
Any
good
other
luck.
questions or comments on this resolution or the process? I mean, this is clearly something different than our usual bid process, so I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of it and clear of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Trustee Heiser,
Yes.
Trustee Crom,
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
and Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. And I should say Trustee Epstein is excused from tonight's meeting. She had let us know she wasn't going to be here. And it's going to throw Greg off all night because that's usually what he starts with. So all right. Resolution number 2, considering a modification of the license and fee schedule.
Okay, whereas the rec department runs a preseason high school soccer clinic in August, and whereas the current price for that clinic is $200, and whereas the superintendent of Parks and Recreation wishes to raise the cost of the clinic to $295 to account for the increased cost to run the clinic, now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves modifying the village license and fee schedule to account for the change in the cost to run the preseason high school clinic in August, and it goes from $200 to $295.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All right, so Chris, I had one question on this, just because, and I'm trying to look at the flyer here, because I know notice had already gone out.
Yeah.
Was there a fee on the notice that had gone out previously?
Probably the fee is when you go to Community Pass.
Okay, so people haven't registered already for it at a certain price. Oh no, look, and actually, I just opened up the flyer, which I should have done prior to this meeting, and I apologize for
That's
not
all right.
doing that. And it does say $295 a week on the flyer. So that was my big question, because I know I had gotten those emails and had considered signing up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not me, my son.
I was going to say, you that much of a soccer player?
No, and I can't run right now, so not for at least a couple months. But all right, so it was advertised that way, and I just wanted to make sure that. Any other questions or comments?
No, same question.
Whether we had advertised, and it seems that we had advertised at the $295, which is good. I mean, at least then we're not switching anything. It's not a bait and switch. So.
Right.
Any other questions or comments?
No, if it costs that much, it costs that much more to run the clinic.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Trustee Heiser,
Yes.
Trustee Crom,
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
and Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 3, considering a modification of the license. No, that's wrong. This is well, it says that on the resolution itself, so we'll have to just we'll just have to change the title of the resolution. So, resolution number 3, considering accepting a Harvard air hockey table as a donation.
Where I did? Okay.
Maybe I have the older version. Maybe that was the typo that was corrected.
Okay, whereas Fred Seifert of Carmel, New York, seeks to donate a Harvard air hockey table, and whereas the air hockey table is an estimated value of $550, and whereas Rybrook is interested in accepting the donation, now therefore be it resolved that the village board acting as the board of directors of the Friends of Rybrook hereby accepts the donation of the air hockey table valued at $550, and be it further resolved the mayor and administrator are authorized to sign any documents necessary to accomplish the purpose of the resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Well, we certainly thank Fred Seifert, and I'm curious though.
I think camp. I think
What?
it's at camp. If you were wondering where we're using it.
Yeah.
Well, I know, I was curious where we're using it, but
Take
I'm
it.
also wondering if he just retired, is he going to have all the free time now to actually use it? But I guess
True.
I guess not. So,
So the camp at the Crawford?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our day camp.
any questions or comments about this?
I like air hockey.
Yeah.
Not the
Get
only
a couple
hockey.
years out of it, huh? Yeah.
All right. Well, we certainly thank Fred and appreciate everything he's done for the village of Rybrook and this donation in his retirement.
Trustee Heiser,
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 4, considering an agreement between the Village of Rybrook and Dragon Tech International for a virtual chief technology officer.
Whereas the Village of Rybrook is seeking to maintain vital information technology capabilities due to personnel retirement, and whereas Rybrook has received a proposal from Dragon Tech International, which is also the village's current information technology consultant, and whereas the proposed agreement with Dragon Tech International would be from July 1st, 2026 until June 30th, 2027, with a monthly cost of $5,000 for services defined in the proposed agreement, with any additional services performed outside the scope of services billed separately. And whereas the Rybrook is interested in accepting the proposed service agreement with Dragon Tech International to perform additional information technology services, now therefore be resolved that the board hereby accepts the proposed agreement between the village and Dragon Tech for a virtual chief technology officer to maintain vital information technology capabilities, subject to modification by council. Be it further resolved, the mayor and administrator are authorized to sign any documents necessary to accomplish the purposes of the resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved. Gentlemen.
All right, second.
Chris, a little background on this,
Sure.
please. Fred
Okay.
comes up again.
Yeah, Fred comes up again. So with the village has reorganized the our IT capabilities in a different way with the retirement of Fred Seifert, which Fred did a great job for many years for us. And Dragon Tech has been a consultant with the village for a number of years now. But now this service agreement, basically, they're going to be acting as our our technology officer. So they are going to be the service. Some of the things that Fred was doing would be now provided by an outside consultant. So the cost this cost is been negotiated. It was much more before, and we negotiated a much lower amount. And we've divided out those responsibilities that would fall into an IT heading. And if you see in the agreement, I think it's on page 3 or page 4, you'll see how we divided out the different responsibilities, either among staff or among the department heads, among other staff members, and among our IT consultant. So this is something that basically they're acting as our IT manager on a consulting basis. So we've already been using their services very heavily, even in the last couple of weeks, in this particular role. If there's a larger specific project for a big project, then they're going to give us they have to give us a work order that has to be signed ahead of time.
Chris,
Yeah.
I noticed that there's a typo which you corrected in the resolution but is it to 27 or 28?
I got to look and see. I got to look at the agreement.
The
2-year.
background shows 28.
I think it's a 2-year.
It's a 2
It
year.
says 2-year in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to build this relationship in this
So
role.
that's $60,000 a year,
Yep.
and we have to go with 2. I guess that's the agreement you kind of like.
I think he's going to need that. Right, this year is a lot of stuff going on in the first year, because he's now Dragon Tech is getting into areas that need attention, and there's a lot of work that's going to be done the first year. So we're building that relationship, and I don't even know. I think it's to our advantage right now to do it 2 year. Let's figure out, because ultimately we're going to see how many hours are being spent in each one of
See,
these
right,
areas
see what
and
they
see
can do.
what the right service and the right amount is.
Right.
But if you look at it from a cost standpoint, you take a salary that's well over 100 plus benefits plus everything else. This is a very from a cost perspective, it's very reasonable. But you're also getting a very big, deep bullpen of knowledge base. Like for instance, I've been working with them the last couple of days with some of the new laws that were coming into effect with ADA, for Title II ADA issues, making sure that all of our IT services, websites, social media, everything has to be ADA compliant, has to follow a particular standard that we need to get certificates, everything else. So they're walking us through the plans and the policies on what we need. And then but then tomorrow he's going to be meeting with Rob Bertolacci in the field to help out to move forward our Wi-Fi and internet system in our park. So he's basically acting in a role that they're acting in a role, it's not he, it's a whole company. But the chief technology officer in the company is the one taking the lead on this, which is great. And he's helping us walk through all those projects and all those issues.
So this is virtual, he won't be in the building at all?
No, he
Come
does
in?
when necessary, but it won't be holding office hours now. Right now, they can act, right now, from a support standpoint,
Yeah.
they do that virtually. That's different.
Yeah.
This is more acting as our chief technology officer, guiding us on what we need to do from a security standpoint, from a management standpoint, from
Purchasing
capital
equipment.
improvements, purchasing equipment, all the above.
So that's
He's
what
doing
we
what
did.
Fred was doing,
That's
on
what we're
that,
doing it right.
but with a lot of knowledge.
We're doing the same
But
thing.
you do it with in-house staff, right?
No,
Oh, really?
no, we hired a company.
Oh, interesting.
Talked about that.
Yep.
Very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah,
So it's a way, it's a deeper bullpen than having one staff member.
Yeah, it's a little, well, whatever.
Absolutely. I think having them providing the services gives us, like you said, Chris, that depth and gives the backing of the company. The one question I had is really more so about the tech committee meetings.
Right now, that'll be in-house. That's going to be Greg. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
he'll be a conduit. Yeah,
All right.
And the money from this is coming.
which is
from
more.
the general-
Their focus lately has been more on the communication.
Communications
anyhow,
more
which is
than-
different.
Okay.
But like another example, like when we're adding new software into our system, or adding anything, they'll manage it through to make sure it's has the right security, has the right has all the right protections, it's placed in the right area from the website, it's placed in, and so they also will go through all the history in the company and what type of security they have. So they'll do all of that from a management standpoint.
Other questions? Yeah, Trustee Crum.
Chris, how common is this in other villages?
Much more
Are-
common.
So we've been kind of a bit out of step trying to have one person do it all.
We had more of a legacy, legacy program, I'd say. The way we were able to do it with Fred, which we were lucky, is we put a lot of hats on him.
Right.
So if you looked at it, that's why you see you look at all the things he was working on. If you go to the agreement and you go to that third page, you'll see all the different tasks that we've had to kind of decentralize out. That he was doing a lot of that, working with our consultants, but also with the staff. If you look at the spreadsheet that we have in there, you'll see all the different tasks and who was doing each one. So yeah, others have had to step up, and we had to train them in the months leading up to this when Fred was meeting. Some of it, we videotaped it, even some of the steps he went through that Greg did. We even if it was in-house, we did it virtually so we can record it and be able to watch it later. Walking through the steps for doing systems, like we had to learn how to manage cell phones, we had to learn how to manage those systems, and we've now got multiple people doing it. We still have some gaps. Jessica, who's doing the video taping for a while, we need a backup for her. We need somebody
Yeah.
else to help out and learn that. So, we're still going. It's a typical small organization trying to get some redundancy and deeper bullpens.
So in a sense, we're trying this also for 2 years
Yeah.
because, as you pointed out at Fred's retirement lunch, it's so strategic to everything we do.
Yes.
So there is
all it's got.
advantages of having somebody understand the village and its history and
Yes.
have a good working relationship with all the departments. And
I don't see how we
I'm
can
not talking
function
about
without
like
it.
support, but like,
Yeah.
hey, we need a new system for the building department.
So much of what we
Yeah.
do is technology based, and
Right.
and we're investing a lot of money in all of it. too.
Yes, yeah.
Look at the police department, right? So they're now doing the police department Dragon Tech too. So you look at all the systems they have and the technology and the security, our financial system, everything else. You look at the systems we have. We've invested a lot of money, and it's very expensive equipment, and there's risk in each one too.
Right. So it was comforting having somebody that had a strategic vision that could not do it all, but at least work with Dragon Tech. Hey, here's what we need. Here's what we want. Here's what I'm hearing from the officers that you may not be hearing because I'm in the lunchroom and you're not. And this is there was, because increasing productivity is right the name of our game, right? There's nothing
Absolutely.
else. Yeah. So we're both going to learn a lot in the
Yeah.
next 2
And
years.
what we did is we did this strategically too. So for the last year, 6 months to a year, we remember we did this in steps. So we started about a year ago now. we started doing virtual support anyhow. So it wasn't calls weren't going to Fred when they had
Right.
problems. We want them going to Dragon Tech. Let's see how that worked. We
Right.
did that for a year. It was great. I mean, they get back within an hour. They're on your computer. They fix the problem.
Getting on, yeah, that's what they do. They get on and it's like calling Dell.
Yeah.
Really, it's
Yeah, I'm not
pretty-
worried about the support, just like
Yeah.
rolling out new systems.
But
you
this agreement is more higher level. Yeah. Than just this is not basic support. That's a different contract.
And they obviously do this for a number of villages and things.
Absolutely. Well, they don't work with a lot of municipalities, but there's some other ones out there that do a lot more municipal work, which we've looked at.
Okay.
Okay, that's that.
Yeah, and I guess, to Trustee Crum's point, a lot of this is trying to just, keep the village moving forward, and whether they're making suggestions, it's, I guess it probably doesn't present a conflict of interest if they're,
No.
I was gonna say, if they're suggesting products or,
No, we're not buying them from them.
right,
Yeah.
okay. Any other questions or comments?
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
and Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 5, considering a renewal of an agreement with the Public Employer Risk Management Association for the village's workers' compensation program.
Whereas the Village of Rybrook has an agreement with PERMA for the village's workers' comp program and expiring July 1st, 2026. And whereas PERMA has presented the village with both 1 and 2 year extension options to provide workers' comp coverage as follows. The current policy year, we put in the resolution just so you could see the differences, for 25-26, that was last year, was $279,724. The 1 year option was going up to $294. Under the 2 year option, there's a reduced first year rate of $294.66. And then the second year would depend on our loss ratio, and there's different amounts that would either be decreased or increased based on the loss ratio of the village, which is basically claims versus your policy cost. And when I say claims, it's incurred plus reserved. And whereas R.J. Impestato of Foe & Sons, who serves as the village's risk management consultant, has recommended the 2 year option, providing the potential for reduced premium cost, premium, and insurer predictability. And whereas Rybrook desires to continue with PERMA, now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the 2 year contract with PERMA for the workers' comp program for the period beginning July 1st, 26, and continuing through June 30th, 2028.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Michael, make sure no one gets hurt.
So we have in case you guys for the public, we have a very active safety committee. We meet monthly. Greg actually is our staff liaison to the safety group, and our insurance people come. Our risk manager comes every month to our safety meetings. We have a cross-department safety committee that meets monthly. We review all injuries that occur in the village. We see how they could be prevented. We look at our incurred versus our incurred costs versus our reserves. So we question those if we need to, or see how they're trending. So we look at our premiums over multi-years, and we also talk about our safety program, our training program, which is a very active safety program. We have both required safety programs, and then we do additional ones that are not required but are beneficial for the type of work that we do. So PERMA is a workers' comp carrier. They're a very good firm. They are a municipal consortium, so they understand the benefit of that is they understand when there's certain types of injuries or claims for municipal workers. That's something that they do, and it's run by municipalities with officers there, and as well as a whole paid staff as well. But their board consists of municipal leaders throughout the state. And so this one gives us an opportunity to have a lower first-year option, and if your loss ratio is going up anyhow, if it's going over those percentages where you're saying, oh, but those are bigger increases, what if it's higher? Well, if you're going to go out to the market, you're probably going to get a higher rate anyhow, because it's going to be based on that prior year plus the last 3 years. So you're really going to go probably looking at that anyhow. So we think this is a fair deal, and it's a good way to kind of protect and give some surety to the village. based on our injuries and experiences. We have very good experience, but of course, the way workers' comp is, the more you squeeze your loss ratios and you tighten up your premiums on a small community, you can get one injury that could then hit your experiences.
So is it are these rates based on payroll or not?
No, they're based on experience, more based on experience.
So if we have a claim and
They do come in and they review payroll, and they look at the titles, they assign that. So they'll come in and look at your payroll to see what
they're
your
doing.
rates will be based on. But the biggest part of it is your loss ratio and your last prior 3 years experience.
And if there's a claim, the rate, it'll stay that rate?
These will be your rates.
Fixed rate?
Yeah.
Regardless how many claims you have that 1 year and 2 year too?
Yeah, I'd have to look and see if they can do a payroll review, just to check titles. But other than that, that would be the only exception.
Oh, so you mean if we had a major claim, that wouldn't change? They wouldn't raise our rates?
You see what the rates would be in the next year. If your loss ratio, if you had a really low injury rate, and or from a
that's
claims
2000
perspective,
that's
the second
27,
year,
28,
the
right?
second year would actually be would go down by 7,000.
Okay.
If it was 15 to 30, it would be very negligible. If it's over 30% loss ratio or over 60, then you're looking at more sizable increases.
Yeah.
But of course, if your experience is going up, then you're probably going to be paying higher rates anyhow.
Right.
And we do have one lingering year when we had some workers' comp claims that were very large. So we still have that one lingering as well. So until that one gets past the 3-year cycle, that's going to sit there in our premium consideration. So that was also why we thought a 2-year option makes sense.
This is the police department as well?
Yeah, this is a village.
Oh,
Everybody.
okay, good. Okay.
I mean, you can get a claim that's $100,000,
Yeah, no,
and
yeah.
you look at our premiums.
Yeah.
We're $290.
No, that's why I was kind of like, that's
Again,
pretty
you get a good
cheap.
program.
Yeah.
Squeeze. Your premiums will get tight, and then a big claim comes in, and guess
Boom.
what?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
That's a nature of a small
Okay.
business.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
and Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 6, considering an agreement between the Village of Rybrook and Labella Associates for building code review for 900 King Street.
Okay, whereas Rybrook has approved a PUD site plan for 900 King Street, and whereas Sunrise Senior Living, the operator of the proposed senior living facility, has submitted a site plan review documents to the building department for review and approval, and whereas Rybrook Building Inspector needs assistance to adequately review all documents submitted by Sunrise Senior Living to ensure code compliance, and whereas Rybrook has received a proposal from Labella Associates to assist the building department with the review of all documents submitted by Sunrise Senior Living with the following rates, and there's all the different rates that are listed for the various titles, for a total estimated cost of $48,000. And whereas Rybrook is interested in accepting the proposed agreement with Labella Associates, now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby accepts the proposed agreement between Rybrook and Labella to assist the department with reviewing site plan review documents for 900 King Street, to ensure code compliance, and be it further resolved, the mayor and administrator are authorized to sign any documents necessary to accomplish the purposes of the resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All right, Chris, maybe a little background on this so that, people understand the necessity of this, of hiring this firm.
Sure.
Because this really goes beyond the scope of what.
Yeah,
would-
you could. Steve is also reviewing it. Steve Hughes is also reviewing it, but these are highly detailed construction documents for a very large project. And what they do is they look through it for code compliance, as well as for with the village. So this gives us more sets of eyes and reviews to make sure that the different functions on these many construction documents, which again is much more detailed than the site plan documents that the village looked at up until this point. So this way that we're able to make sure that the building is done in the right way.
Have we used Labella before?
We've used them on other services, but I think do you remember who else was used on? We've used outside. We used Belfair. We used an outside firm, huh? New York State did that one. There was another one that was reviewed. Yeah, but those were no. But we've had them look at some other building. Yeah, but there's also we've used other firms too. but we have used Labella on other types of services.
Yeah, I think the idea being that this is a much larger development than what we've typically seen. We also want to make sure that our building department and our building inspectors are available to also handle the normal volume of what's coming into the village and being able to respond to residents. So that we just want to make sure that, this takes so much time that it's not really eating up all of staff
No.
time.
And we should say this is reimbursable to the village as well. So they pay for this. It's not a village expense. It's something they reimburse us the cost. The applicant has to reimburse us. So and again, I think it was the other one was Kingfield. I think we've had that somebody review Kingfield with us as well. Pretty sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Will they be doing on-site inspections?
I can't remember.
That's
The contract does provide for that if needed. My understanding, our office did review this agreement in consultation with the village administrator's office, and so they do have the option if they need to come out and do site verification. But this is really primarily a bulk of the review are the
In-house.
plan set documents, making sure that it's adhering to code, making recommendations to the village if there needs to be any tweaks to the approvals or anything of that nature. So, and I think it's also important that this doesn't relinquish any of the village's approval and oversight
of it.
of the project.
I do think they should be. I think we should think about them being out there doing and helping with the
Providing
inspections.
help.
Well, because these commercial projects are humongous,
All the time.
and you were talking major steel. I mean, I'm sure the contractor has third-party inspectors as well. And sometimes that's in the documents and the plan saying. You're an engineer. Someone's got to sign off on some of this
I think
structural.
we did Belfair. I think there was actually an on-site inspector the whole time out there
Yeah.
for us.
So just something that, at $48,000 is, well, they'll get reimbursed, which is great, but.
It may be additional
maybe-
services
I
that we
think
could
there's
use.
gonna be additional, because it's not easy to do those inspections. Let me tell you, there's a lot of
You know
stuff.
from
going-
firsthand knowledge.
Yeah, we don't do them. We can't.
Yeah.
It's just too much. Plus, like you said, the residents will lose the typical residential. In fact, we won't be doing these residential inspections because they'll have this
Be
monster
running out there.
project. Because it takes time. It's a time-consuming process.
Yep, definitely.
Safety's important. Okay. Anyway. that's
Any
just
other
a-
questions or concerns from the board? Okay.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
And Mayor Klein?
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 7, considering an agreement between the Village of Rybrook and Public Employer Risk Management Association for a grant disbursement for an ice alert kit.
Whereas Rybrook wishes to increase safety awareness in front of village-owned properties, and whereas Rybrook has received a $1,375 grant from PERMA for an ice alert kit, which includes 8 spinning signs along with some window cling type signs, a metal sign for an outdoor post, and a poster. And whereas Rybrook is interested in accepting the grant award from PERMA, now therefore be resolved that the board hereby accepts the $1,375 grant from PERMA for an ice alert kit for Rybrook properties subject to modification by council, and be it further resolved that the mayor and administrator are authorized to sign any documents necessary to accomplish the purposes of the resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second?
Motion.
Second.
Okay.
What is an ice
Can you
alert kit? Huh?
explain what an ice alert for the public?
I will die to know that.
I don't know if I can do it for a visual, describe it, but basically it's a sign,
Yeah.
and it has a circle. Think about a circle,
Yeah, okay.
and it has white and blue triangles in it in the circle.
Okay.
And what happens is it changes color as it gets ice, as it's an icy condition, and alerts drivers that there's an icy condition out there, right? Huh?
Pedestrians.
Pedestrians. Okay.
not
Not
dri-
drivers.
That's why I wanted to
Pedestrians.
make
Right,
it
'cause the road's
clear.
going to be warmer, right? Pretty much.
And,
No. This is for pedestrians.
and
Okay.
where do you
Walking into the building,
mount these things?
in front of the building.
Yeah.
Where do you mount them?
Like senior center.
So just
senior
so
center,
that it's on the
parks.
recording. So what's being said is that these are mounted on buildings,
On a post.
on a post, just so that walkways, so that people will know when it's below freezing and they know
Slippery.
that it may be slick.
If you do a Google of it, ice alert kit, you'll see what the sign looks like.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How many are we getting?
8.
8. So put them in certain ones. I guess safety first.
The workers.
Awareness.
And this
The
is
workers'
grant
comp.
funded.
There's no cost to the village.
Yeah.
There's no cost to the
Right.
village.
Right, so this is grant funded, so it's worth, at least exploring to see whether these work and whether it has a positive effect.
Yes.
We need one out front here.
All right, any other questions or comments
Nope.
from the board?
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
And Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 8, considering an intermunicipal agreement between the Village of Rybrook, Village of Portchester, and Town of Rye for parking ticket collection services.
Whereas Rybrook seeks to improve parking ticket collection procedures, and whereas Rybrook seeks to work collectively with the town of Rye, who also collects revenue on behalf of the Village of Portchester to enhance parking ticket collection services, and whereas proposed IMA between Rybrook, Portchester, and the town of Rye would authorize Passport Labs to engage Lindbarger, Goggin, Blair, and Sampson, otherwise known as Lindbarger, on behalf of Passport, and by extension, the town and its constituent villages, including Rybrook and Portchester, to provide parking collection services for past, present, and future delinquent amounts due as a result of unpaid parking tickets. And whereas under the proposed municipal agreement, fees charged for parking ticket collections performed by Lindbarger shall be 140% of the face value of the tickets, including late payment penalties, which shall be transmitted in full to the village where the ticket originated, and then 28.5% of the full amount of said collection shall be remitted by that village to the town of Rye, who shall pay that amount to Lindbarger for the collection service. And whereas Rybrook is interested in accepting the proposed agreement, and now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the proposed IMA between Rybrook, Portchester, and the town of Rye to improve parking ticket collection services subject to modification by council, and be it further resolved the mayor and administrator are authorized to sign any documents necessary to accomplish the purposes of the resolution.
Thank you, Chris. Can I have a motion and second?
Motion. Second.
Chris?
All right. Please, David. Trustee Heiser.
I'm trying to figure out the fourth whereas paragraph.
Okay.
Under the proposed intermunicipal agreement, fees charged for parking ticket collections performed by Lineberger shall be 140% of the face value. Does that mean Lineberger is getting 140%?
So
No.
let me walk through it.
Please.
So the village, what they're doing is they're going to charge for the past, present, and future. And this is an agreement that the town negotiated or worked out with Lindbarger, who works with Passport. And they're proposing that for any outstanding tickets, this is not you're late, you get a late thing, you get the notice, you pay it. That's not that. This is for like outstanding tickets that aren't collected. The village, they're going to charge. Say if the ticket was $100, they're going to charge $100 with the late fees, everything's just for simplicity. Say it's $100. They're going to charge the person $140. They're going to send the $140 to us, and then 28.5, which basically, if $100 is like 39 and 9 whatever dollars, goes back. So that 40% goes back to Lindbarger through the town of Rye. So we collect it, we receive it, and then it's got to be filtered back to the town who pays Lindbarger. Awkward thing, apparently it's because the town, according to the town, they can't be the agency that collects and disperses it to us. It has to go through to us, and then it has to go back to them.
Okay.
Because it can't be the court agency that does it.
Right, and again, this goes back to the same issue we've been talking about for many months now, of that the fines weren't collected originally. This is us trying, and in all the municipalities in the town, including the town, trying to get paid for past due traffic tickets that have been, for
Yep.
many years.
So in short, the village would get 100%. The village would get 100% of the amount due. We would be made whole. The town of Rye gets nothing, and Lindbarger would get 40% of the original face value, and as an additional fee. They don't get we keep the 100%. They're getting the amount over and above the 100%.
I have another question. Have the policies regarding how far back we go been determined yet? Are we allowed to do something different than Portchester decides to do?
They decide. I know Portchester's giving comments on the same agreement, so everyone's looking at. This would be a 3-party agreement. So it would be signed by Portchester, Rybrook, and the town of
But this
Rye.
is sort of the mechanics. Can we have our own policy regarding how far back we go and what?
I'm told that I asked that question, how far are they going to go back? And they said there's a statute of some amount, I forget what it was. They thought it was 6 years or something going backwards, but they're going to go back with what they can get,
Whatever they're allowed to.
whatever they're allowed to. There's no restriction on how far back they're going to go.
Is there going to be an internal due diligence process to make sure that we have all the primary source documents so that if it's challenged, we're ready?
Not that I'm aware of, because remember, this isn't our we didn't draft this agreement. So the agreement it's an agreement that they have between the town of Rye and Passport and Lindberger. They're the ones that started it.
Because-
the agreement there's another agreement that the town has, which I can get for you guys, that has a contract with Passport that allows for this to happen.
I mean, what we heard during, you know this, Chris, during our own due diligence period is some periods during COVID, the records may not be as good. And because of a merger between some of the record-keeping companies and because of COVID, some periods they may not have excellent records, let's just say that.
Yes.
I am not in favor of sort of, this may not be the right term, a fishing expedition where you just sort of threaten somebody, hey, we're the collection agency, you owe us money. I do feel comfortable if we have all our ducks in a row, we have whatever is necessary to win in court. But if we are lacking records, because we could be wrong. What we had heard was the court was sending threatening letters and people were calling and saying, what the heck, we paid you. And they were going, oh, our records are wrong. I'd really hate to sick a collection agency on someone if the records are wrong.
Well, you don't have to approve it, and you could go back and ask more questions.
Well, I mean, I'm in favor of the general thing. I just
If the
want to
board's
make
not
sure that there's
comfortable or has
enough.
more questions, we can ask the questions and not approve it yet.
Yeah.
Listen, it's been out there for how long? If we don't
Right.
do it tonight, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and personally, I'm still comfortable with this. I think, if you get a letter like that, you could also, I think they're saying we're the collection agency that's been hired to do this. But if you've paid it, you have record of it. You'll be able to show that you actually did pay it.
How far back?
And-
You're relying on that, right now, if you were to prove it now, you're relying on the professionalism of the collection agency that's doing the work through the contract between the town, Limburger, and Passport. If you're not comfortable with that, or if you have more questions, then I'd say don't approve it and ask the questions. We can get the answers and put it back on a future agenda.
Well, presumably Lineberger will not attempt to collect anything where there's no basis. for there being a
I'm
debt.
not comfortable with that. I mean, again, I hate policy based on personal things, but my daughter just got a notice. She lives in California from a hospital saying, you owe us X amount of money. She called the hospital. They're like, we don't have records. She's like, I'm looking at your records online. You say I owe zero. And here I'm getting this collection agency. It's very upsetting sort of thing for someone that pays their bills. Very threatening. She calls up the place and they go, oh, yeah, we've been having a lot of problems with this. Yeah, don't worry about it. And she's like, don't worry about it. You're threatening my credit report on this thing. She's like, I want a letter. So they sent her a letter. But like somebody else might be scared and pay, God forbid, or I don't know. To me, it's scary. Maybe I'm a very conservative person. Right now, knowing what I know, that there were certain periods, and they weren't like a month or two, certain fairly long periods where they're saying they don't have records. I don't think we should be, if they found the records and everything's fine, good. But I don't want to sick a collection agency on people where we don't have proper records.
We don't, as you know, we don't have any of the records.
Right.
Right.
It's the town
So,
that has the.
I'm not confident, I
so
hate
what
to
you
say
can
it
say-
in
what I-
public, but I'm not
what I'm-
confident, from what I heard from the town, that they have their you-know-what together on some of this stuff.
I can't answer that, but what we can say is, again, if the board's not comfortable, don't approve it tonight. It's been out there for a long time, but if you want to meet with the firm, we can also arrange for the board members to meet with the firm and say, my guess is the firm, their money's going to come from what they get. So if they feel they have the their ducks in a row for what they think they can get, whatever method they use, and however far back the statute allows them to go back, they're going to try to maximize their revenue.
Right. I mean, but they may take a strategy of let's just go after everybody and see what comes of it, right?
Well, given the fact that in essence they're working on commission,
Exactly.
they have an incentive to be aggressive.
Exactly. And I'm happy with them being aggressive if we have all the supporting documents. I don't like fishing expeditions.
To what? She said, I heard further than that, but I couldn't say with any surety.
We had.
Yeah, but I just asked the question last week, so.
It's not saying anything
If
in
they
the
went back
agreement.
2 years, I would be in favor.
The reason I called this, it wasn't clear to me. It looked like it was drafted about a going forward basis too, and I want to confirm that. My purpose of my call, and they said no, they're going to go backwards, current, and going forward.
I'm okay if it was going back 2 years, 2.5 years, going forward, but there's periods that I'm not comfortable.
I think our office too, it might be helpful if the town would be willing to share a copy of their agreement. We can take a look at that and then compare it with the IMA, make sure that the terms are aligned as well.
But spot check, in other words, let's say they say we're going back 6 years. I would like to see spot checking of, with the courts, okay, for 2001, whatever, you say there's X amount of money due, let's go in. Where's your records for those? Oh, we don't have them. We lost them. The passport stuff's wrong, the whatever.
One thing that I do want to note is that unfortunately the agreement is with the town and Lindberger, right? Am I saying that? Lineberger. So the village isn't a party to that agreement. With this IMA, though, it would give the village kind of an indirect say on this as well. But without the IMA, the village is really has
No role.
no role.
Right.
in it.
No, so I came in comfortable with the idea of the IMA. In fact, I applaud it. I think it's fantastic. I don't see how you can do it almost without this. So I very much applaud the IMA. I'm just worried about getting into the details of
Thank you.
making sure that.
It's pretty straightforward. If the board has questions and you want to answer it, I'd encourage you not to approve it. If that's what the majority of the board wants to do, don't approve it. Get your questions answered. It's been going on for 10 years now without
Right,
being corrected.
exactly.
It can wait more time if you're not comfortable. If you are comfortable, that's different. But if you're not, ask questions.
Well, who is it that would be able to answer our questions?
Well, the question, we want to look at the agreement, and then you'd have to ask Linebarger, or however you pronounce it.
But
You
since
look at
this
the
is-
agreement.
Since we are at best a third party to this agreement, are we capable of telling Lineberger, we don't want you to do the following? In other words, 2 years, go back, you have carte blanche. More than 2 years, we'd like to know what your records are.
They could say yes or no to that, but
Yes.
yeah, but I don't see why we wouldn't have the ability to ask that, because we're the party that would benefit. In other words, the town of Rye isn't going to get money out of prior due tickets, so we're the one that has the interest, right?
No, I'm not, I'm just wondering, since we are not a party to the agreement, we can't really control what happens. We're a third party. that
We are a third party.
Stands to benefit from this
Correct.
agreement.
You'd only
That's
benefit.
But
really-
we can still get answers on the questions we have. I mean, personally, I'm okay with this, but I'm fine also putting this vote off for 2 weeks so we can get some answers. I don't think 2 weeks is going to make a
Right.
huge difference.
Right. No, I mean, I applaud the direction. I'm just nervous about, yeah, I've already said what I said.
Right. Certainly understand your concern, and we would want to make sure that, again, this comes down to, only going after those who actually owe money.
Right, that we have,
That
good
ignored,
backup.
that at some level didn't pay, even after multiple
Right.
notifications.
And I mean, I think we saw the sheets of, I think we had some information of what those were, and seeing what they had records of. So I mean, given that, I'm fairly comfortable with it. But again, I'll leave it to the board.
Yep.
So what I was saying was that,
Yeah.
we saw the records that they have. we were able to see that. And so we saw kind of who the offenders
No,
were.
but when we
but-
pushed on that table, they said we don't have backup for a whole bunch of it.
But
Right.
if it turns out, as the chief
it's
said,
2
it's 2
years.
years, it's a non-issue
If
probably.
it's 2 years, it's a non-issue.
So
'cause-
may I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Oh,
that
yeah,
if-
can we
if-
pass this?
No.
tonight?
My suggestion would be that Trustee Crom make a motion to table this item for till the next meeting.
Okay.
Well, actually, you would postpone it till the next meeting. You table indefinitely.
Thank you. There you go. And then if you get a second on
Table's
that,
putting it in the parking lot, huh?
Well, the thing is, if you postpone it till the next meeting.
And we don't have anything.
And we don't have it.
We have to postpone
then
it
we play
again.
that game again. So
Yes.
you're better off
Put it to the
tabling
first meeting
it
in
and
Au-
then
put
putting
it
it
to
on
the
the
August
agenda
meeting.
whenever we
Why
have
just
the
put it on August
information.
11th? That's
Yeah.
fine too.
Whenever we have the information.
Okay, I so move that we table this until we have a little bit more information about the period that they're intending to collect on.
It looks like they can go back to 8 years. That's,
And I'm not necessarily a problem with year 8, but I have some problem with some of the intermediate years, you know,
Sal,
from what
are
I
you
know.
Are you speaking from experience, Sal?
I'm reading an AI in it.
So, Mayor, there's a
Pretty,
motion on the
pretty
table.
easy.
Well, in AI, I mean, we have to look at what the agreement actually says.
Right.
I don't think we want to use.
I'm just talking about tickets.
Right, so we do have a motion on that. In order for us to take action on that, we would need a second.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on this? Again, this is now voting not on the resolution itself, voting on us tabling
Okay,
this
tabling it.
this
Right.
resolution until we have answers to the questions.
Yes, that sounds good.
So do we have a second on that? I don't
Second.
remember.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morley?
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes. All right, and hopefully by our next meeting or the August meeting, we have more answers, and then we're able to act on this a little bit better.
Does anyone want me to work just with Trustee Crom, or do you want me to, anybody else want to be involved or give comments by like the end
I
of the week?
certainly don't need to be involved. I'd like to just know what the answer to the question
Okay,
is really all I'm looking for, and then we'll go from there.
okay. So I'll follow up with Trustee Crom and we'll work out and get you the answers.
Okay, thank you. All right, resolution number 9, considering modifying the dates of village board meeting in August.
Give me 1 second, please.
Mm-hmm.
Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby cancels the regular meeting scheduled on whatever date board would like to cancel due to summer scheduling conflicts.
Thank you, Chris. Typically, we cancel the second meeting in August. That would certainly be my preference, that we meet on August 11th, cancel the 25th. Does that work for everyone?
As far as I know, yeah.
Last year, we canceled both and did one in the middle.
Yeah, I'd rather just,
Okay.
I'd rather just cancel. I think I'd rather just cancel one.
like that
We
way.
used to do that with the December meetings and the August meetings as well. And I think the thought process, and I know I had suggested that a few times, and I think the thought process was it puts it in the middle of the month, so it's. What I have found, though, which changes my mind, is that a lot of times there's other meetings that are scheduled around when the village board meetings are that could potentially use Village Hall. This keeps it where, I know in my head and in my schedule, it's the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. And so this keeps it kind of on that schedule, which is my personal preference. The reason also I had done it was because it shortens the time between meetings, because now we'll have the second meeting in July and then our regular first meeting in August, and then it's many weeks before we have another meeting. But typically these are canceled because the agendas are relatively light in both August and December. And so I think I feel comfortable with that time period in between.
It also gives us time, should we need it, for an emergency meeting.
Yeah, that's true. That we could have an emergency meeting if there was something that came up that required it.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Any questions or comments? Does that work?
It works.
So can I have a motion and second, please, to cancel the August? So we would be saying that hereby cancels the regular meeting scheduled on August 25th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee
Yes.
and Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 10, considering fiscal year 25-26 general fund budget transfers and fiscal year 26-27 capital budget transfer.
Resolved that the following 2025-26 fiscal year-end general fund budget transfers be approved, and there's a series of various funds that will help balance our budget from last year. There's us cleaning up prior to the audit, and be it further resolved that, and various, some of it is utilities, some of it is some consulting fees, let's see, rec department janitor fees, that's from Blindbrook, utilities and rec department and for village offices. Be it further resolved, the following budget transfer also be transferred from between capital projects to fund the Village Hall exterior stucco and brick repair project, and as a transfer to the Village Hall exterior stucco repair, brick repair in the amount of $150 that Mr. Nowak overspent by, he blew the budget by $150.
For shame.
We're going to go under.
All right, can I have a motion and second, please?
That's for the minutes.
Second.
And again, for and we say this a lot. This is a lot of bookkeeping to make sure that when we're audited, when people are looking at these books, everything is very clear and concise of what's happening. This does not modify the amount that we've spent. It's just moving things between accounts. This doesn't affect the tax levy. This doesn't doesn't affect anything else. It's really just making sure that everything's clean. Like we said, that it's we spent a little less in the sewer repairs and relining, or we may end up transferring some money from somewhere else to cover that, but this is adding that $150 into
Balancing the
that.
books.
Balancing the books, exactly. Any questions or comments from the board?
No.
Okay.
Don't let it happen again. Well, I just- That's what my mother would say to me.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
and Mayor Klein.
Yes, thank you. Our final resolution number 11, considering approval of the minutes for the meetings held on April 28th and May 12th, 2026.
Okay, now be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approves those minutes for April 28th and May 12th, 2026.
Can I have a motion and second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All right. And you know what? We're going back to the old way, Greg. If you want, it's just let's keep consistency across the meetings.
Trustee Heiser?
Yes.
Trustee Crom?
Yes.
Trustee Morlino,
Yes.
and Mayor Klein.
Yes.
You know what they say about a foolish consistency?
The what?
Hobgoblin of little minds.
Yes,
Oh,
I
boy.
have heard that.
All right. Administrator's report.
Okay, I have a couple items I want to mention. The notices have been sent out for several of the properties that are going to be need asbestos removal prior to demolition. These are the flood projects and the houses that we purchased as part of the NRCS program. So the first three properties that they're going to be working on is Brook Lane. So those will be, I think it's 8, 12, and 22 Brook Lane. So the notice has gone out. There's what is called a 10-day notice that goes out for asbestos abatement. Prior to doing that, we have now, as the board approved last meeting, we have on-site monitoring as well throughout. And those projects, that work will start on July 27th, 28th, and August 3rd for the three different properties. So just it's a sign that project is moving forward. And then we'll move on to the other two roads, onto Wyman and onto Rock Ridge. And then demo will happen after all the abatement inside. In terms of paving, this is our paving season, and Mr. Nowak has been coordinating with our paving contractor. They're just finishing up on Woodland Ave, Widmore, and Iron Hill. And either the end of next week or perhaps the beginning of next week, probably more likely the very beginning of next week, they'll be working on Ridge Street. And they're going to be working in a north to south direction. They're going to try to keep one lane of traffic open as much as possible, but there will be periodic delays as they go by driveways and by streets. So, it is a main spine of the village, so it'll be a big project. It'll probably be a couple of weeks, but they're going to do it in sections. So the nice part is they're going to keep the lanes as much as they can open, and they're going to be milling and paving each section as they work their way down. So it won't be like a whole wall of Ridge Street is milled and then it'll come back and be all paved again. It'll be broken down into sections. Also, please be careful. You're going to have raised utilities, manholes, stuff like that. So please drive slowly through there. We're going to keep the website updated and the residents updated, but it'll be great when it's done. Part of that project also, separate contractor, but they'll be working in the new crosswalk at Crawford Park.
Right.
So that's also going to be done in parallel throughout the project as well. Separate contractor, but they'll be working that out and working that in. So that's exciting. Starting next week, our online permit system, our new system, is going to be active. So they've been working, and it's been a much smoother process with this vendor than the prior vendor. It's a nice system. We've seen it going through. It's been a really much better implementation than the last one, and we're very excited to offer that to the residents starting next week. So you see some notifications going out to the community for that starting on July 20th. Let's see. Good news. Sales tax came in, and we exceeded our budget last year by $300,000. So we just got the final numbers for sales tax for our fourth quarter of our last fiscal year, and that was really good news. So sales tax was very strong. Mortgage tax also did well, so that was up by $70,000 over budget. So both of those, which are kind of wild cards at time, they both came in strong and above our budget. We always, when we open it up, we always go, oh, please hope it's good numbers. You just don't know. But, educated guesses, I guess. But so they both met budget. Other items, now just events. This summer is our events on steroids, I think, in Rybrook. We have a lot going on. Last week we had some nice fun events. We had the first of the Ice Cream Fridays and a movie night. Really great attendance. A lot of board members, thank you all for coming out. And helping serve the ice cream to the residents, and really just a nice night, beautiful night out last week. Now we have some new stuff coming up too. So this Friday, we have another ice cream event this Friday at 6 o'clock, Pine Ridge Park, and then later on we have at 8:30 p.m. We're doing The Sky Is the Limit as a new astronomy program. So we're going to have the Westchester Amateur Astronomers Group is volunteered to come out with their equipment and going to go out on the turf field at King Street and be able to. They're going to describe what people have out there. So hope for good weather and clear skies on Friday. That's the one thing about that event. If it's really cloudy or bad weather, you kind of just have to cancel. But we're going to hope for good weather, and we have another date in August. We're going to do a second phase if there's interest on this. So it's kind of a fun thing to do, something different. We also have this Saturday our food truck event from 11 to 3. So we have food trucks that are going to be out in force over at Pine Ridge. It'll be a nice night. We'll have our rec department out having games and face painting and all kinds of stuff and music. So we're looking forward to that. Next week, July 22nd, is music. We have Andrea and the Armenian Rug Riders from next week at 6:30 or 6:45. 6:45 start on July 22nd. So that's always a very popular band. They do a great job. The community really loves when they play in Rybrook. And again, they'll be out at Pine Ridge Park. And then we have another Ice Cream Friday. And then we have on the next Saturday, we have the community tag sale from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So again, I say that now, it sounds far away, but people need to start registering, signing up for it with Mr. Rivera so that they can, get on the list and get posted so we can let the community know all the various sites in Rybrook and Portchester that people can go and visit the various locations for tag sales.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right.
Oh. What's that?
Fireworks. Fireworks.
Thank you.
24, yeah.
Also on the July 24th is the rescheduled date for the fireworks at the Portchester High School. So they're going to have another fun night of all different events and games and everything else. So hopefully we'll have much better weather than July 4th. And they have some great plans in place and hopefully some great fireworks. So thanks to all the people that work on that wonderful event and make that happen. And our police and public works will all be out in force as well, helping residents to navigate through the neighborhoods.
Well, thank you, Chris, and certainly, yeah, I hope people can make it to the fireworks. Hopefully, everything goes off without a hitch, and all of these other great events that the village is putting on. There is one other thing I wanted to bring up that I was remiss. I meant to do this at the beginning of the meeting, and I apologize. But since our last meeting, there was someone who has built multiple projects in the village. Really was a community figure, especially in Portchester, but involved in multiple areas, and that was Lula Rizza, who unfortunately passed since our last meeting. And I think it would be remiss for us to go through a meeting without mentioning him and the effect that he's had on our local communities. Chris, I don't know if you wanted to say anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, he is a big-hearted person who always just helps so many people. And the more you hear the stories about him, all the different people he's helped in his lifetime, I think we all hope to help others in our lifetimes, and he certainly made a difference in so many people's lives, especially, he was really well known, not just in Portchester and Rybrook, but throughout the county as the premier affordable housing developer. You saw his projects, you always knew he was going to go over and above what most affordable housing projects would have. It's going to have lots of extra landscaping. It's going to have all the details will be taken care of, and he treated people really well that in his locations. And I always heard story after story about people that he would go back years later into a home that he no longer was responsible for and replace what they needed, or I have an extra oven, I'll give you an extra oven when it broke, or something like that. He would always have that big heart to help people in any way he could. So rest in peace, and he really made such a difference in people's lives, and I think that's what most of us would love to, we all hope for or strive for in our lifetimes.
Absolutely. Any other comments? Yes, Trustee Crown.
No, yeah. Rest in peace, for sure. Yeah. But I think it's also we had that major storm that knocked out power to a lot of people since our last meeting. And I want to thank the Department of Public Works and the administration group. The administration group kept Con Ed apprised or praised. Is it praised? Apprised, excuse me, right the first time. Apprised of where we were, and tried to make sure we got our spot in the queue. It's not under their direct control, but it's certainly a communication issue. Also, kudos to the administration for a lot of news flashes that kept residents up to date, because I'm sure it's, we didn't lose power in that storm, but you're always wondering, is the power coming on in a week, in a day, in a month, whenever? So it's nice to know, hey, you can look on the Con Ed site, but it's nice to hear your village is at work. And not to forget the Department of Public Works guys. I know there was some initial consternation, like, hey, how come the guys aren't out there cutting the tree, right away? But the protocol makes sense for a safety point of view. They have to get cleared by Con Ed to make sure there's no, electricity going through the line, and therefore putting our people in danger. But the minute they got the word right that wasn't the case, they were out there in full force. So.
Yeah, once the lines were de-electrified.
But it was as much as 48 hours, right, on all this. So
everything was cleared within 48 hours. All the roads were open, and all the electricity was back. The highway crew did a great job. Also, our police department is our eyes and ears on the streets too, so they report in. And they're actually the people that reported the main blockages or public safety issues, not outages. We don't want people to call us for outages. That really needs to originate from the location where the outage exists. But any for road closures, public safety issues, that gets reported by the police department based on information from the police officers and public works and parks guys that are all out in the field. So it really is a big team effort across the board in communication, Mr. Nowak, Mr. Dengler, and I communicate throughout it. So it really is a team effort trying to, and obviously we communicating with the board the whole time and getting that information out to the community as best we can. So thank you, and it is a team effort across the board.
Yeah, my apologies for not including the police. That very important part of the team, I'm sure.
All right. Thank you. Any other further comments from the board? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, the next meeting of the Board of Trustees will be July 28th and August 11th. Thank you and have a good night.